All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the OnoCoffee channel. I'm your host, Jay. What's happening? And oh no, that thing is happening again. It's been a couple days since I did a live stream. I totally forgot to make a change to one of the settings on the camera. Let me do that right now. All right, excellent. I follow some of these YouTubers online. One of them is a woman by the name of Heather Ramirez. She's the wife of Tom Buck. And if you're in the YouTube, if you follow YouTube tech and cameras and stuff like that, you probably heard of Tom. If not, then you don't know. But they're married, and Heather had a live stream last night that I was watching, and she was talking about making technical errors during your live stream. And well, you know, there's always technical errors to be made, and that's one of them. So what's going on today? We're talking about something that I've been thinking about for a while now. A few years ago, one of my really good friends, Spike Jurdy, who's a big chef here in Baltimore, owns a place called Woodbury Kitchen, was mentioning to me something about a movement called Sober Curious. There's a whole world of people that are trying to get away from alcohol or just don't have an interest in alcohol. And to be honest with you, in some ways, I'm one of those people in that I don't really have a social life where it's heavily centered around alcohol. Like I'm not always out drinking. Now, I'm not against alcohol and I'm not sober by any means. Like if I have an alcohol that I'm interested in, I will drink it. Like for example, well, pretty much all of this at some point, but really like, let's say, here's one for you. Like this. This is a bottle of Chateau Simard from the Saint-Emilion region of France. I mean, 1999. It's not like I went and bought this in a fancy place. I probably bought this in like 2001, and it's just been sitting around here. But I'm not against that kind of thing. So, but I am curious. Dylan Tor, how are you, man? Good to see you. And so I've been thinking about it in the back of my mind that as we're getting ready to open a new coffee space, it's kind of come to the forefront. Well, because I need to make a menu that's going to have an exploration of coffee in ways that are unusual or different than what people expect. And so one of those things I was thinking about was whiskeys and bourbons. So I was down at my friend Sarah, she owns a coffee shop called Venti Coffee Roasters here in Baltimore. She had a big coffee fest. We did the cold brew there, and I went down to that event, and they had a cocktail bar there, a place called Baltimore Spirits Company, had made some cocktails, and they even made some mocktail type of drinks using something called bear proof alcohol, which is this kind of bourbon type of beverage. And the guys there were like, oh, this is the one we like the most. This has the most bourbon, like whiskey type of flavor. Evidently, a lot of the ones that are on the market don't really taste like that, and they're kind of made in very different ways. And so I was curious, and so I was trying to find it locally, and a lot of the liquor stores don't have it. They're hard to find. So finally, I reached out to Bear, and I was like, hey, guys, I'm in Baltimore. How can I get your product? And they're like, well, you could order from us. And I was like, well, I don't really want to order it from you directly. If there's a local shop that I can support. And they're like, yeah, there's a place downtown Baltimore called Hopscotch. It's called the Hopscotch Bottle Shop, and they are a store that evidently opened a year ago that's really focused on this whole thing of supplying the public with non-alcoholic beverage options. And so I went down there, met with Heidi, the store manager, and she took me on kind of this whirlwind tour of what some of the things are available. And we did a lot of tasting of the alcohols, or I don't know what to call them, but these products straight. And it was fascinating. So there was one product that I did want to take the Bear, and there was a couple of the products I was thinking about buying, but unfortunately they were sold out. There's one called Fleur, which is this kind of like, I don't even know how to describe what it is, but I was just like, well, let's get something to play with. So I got a bottle of this. This is Wilfred's Aperitif. And good morning to you, Dan. Wilfred's is a company out of the United Kingdom where this gentleman, Wilfred, took the time to make this aperitif style beverage. So it's made with distilled bitter orange and rosemary. As you can see here, it's 0% alcoholic spritz. So it's meant to get an aperitif kind of feeling to it. And, you can see here on the label, here's something about it. And so it says, We're reinventing the spritz with a carefully crafted, non-alcoholic aperitif, blended natural, blending natural botanicals such as rosemary, bittersweet orange, rhubarb, and clove. Wilfred's is a truly distinctive and incredibly delicious drink. And I tasted it. It is really interesting. And, I bought it, and then I was like, how am I going to make this with coffee? Like, what? I don't even understand what I'm doing. I don't even know why I bought it. Like, I bought it because I was cool. I thought it was nice, a nice packaging. I thought it was a nice tasting product on its own. But how are we going to work this into coffee? So I thought, let's explore this more. But the thing about this is like $32, $40, just under $40, and it's like, you're like, okay, I'm buying flavored water for nearly the price that you'd pay for, any of these, right? Like, what kind of craziness is that, right? So I mentioned that to Heidi. I was like, so, okay, because I used to do, well, I used to manufacture syrups many years ago. Simple syrup, added flavorings, things like that. And then as we moved and progressed into Spro, we were still making our own syrups, not at scale that we used to, but we make our own syrup. We, infuse them with whatever ingredient we wanted to infuse them with. And the cost is not tremendous, right? Like, you could sell a bottle. I mean, in my understanding of it, you could make this much volume, which is 500 milliliters. And I bet we could sell it for a great profit, a flavored syrup, for like, $15 to $17 retail, $20 retail. But this is almost twice that price. So I was like, I had to ask her, and I had to be, maybe I was trying not to be too challenged. I was like, okay, so how is it that these are they being sold at these prices because, they're supposed to be replacing these bottles, right? And she was like, well, I mean, perhaps there's some of that, but she was also like, well, something like this is also taking a lot of ingredients to make. So evidently, in order to infuse this product and products similar to this, they have to use like triple the amount of the ingredient in order to get the infusion as well as the intensity. And I was like, all right, they're doing more, so I'll go along with it. I mean, I'll go along with it. I mean, I'm not upset or anything, but I was just curious at this kind of strange dichotomy that I could go out and buy a bottle of alcohol, let's say like this Don Papa rum, right? For, let's say, $40. I don't know how much it costs now, but let's say $40, but you'd spend the same amount on the non-alcoholic version, or $30 or something. Then I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But we're here now with the Wilfreds. So let's give it a try and see what it's all about. I did assemble some things. We're going to try some drinks here today. One of the things I just thought that, okay, so those of you who watch and know me, you guys know that I really dislike coffee as an ingredient. Number one, because it's such an ugly product. Like, it's a product that is brown and just miserable brown. Like, unfortunately, the difficult part about coffee is that there's no easy way to take this product, extract the flavors out of it, and get a nice appearance, right? It's going to be brown, or it's going to be tainted some kind of brown. Peter, good morning to you. How are you doing? Good night or good evening to you. So I was thinking, okay, we need to do some coffee, but then, it's like you could just toss coffee in it like they do with like espresso martinis, and it's kind of boring. I'm like, well, that's kind of boring. Like, I don't know. We had to work on that. I was bidding the last couple of days on this laboratory auction, trying to get these little centrifuges, but I kind of lost out because I wasn't able to attend the actual final auction, online auction part of it, because I was training yesterday. So I lost all of my bids. I have no centrifuges. I guess I'm just gonna have to go get the Searsall from Dave Arnold. Just call him up, be like, Dave, I'm ready for your Searsall. But what I did for today, I want to try it out because I thought, okay, let's find something that we can do coffee that is maybe, because if I took coffee and I mixed it with this really pretty red, it's just going to be brown and ugly. And I'm like, Yeah, we could do like we've been doing with the Kanekano series and layer, which is kind of nice too. But like, can we get out of the brown? How do we express coffee out of the brown? Now there are ways for us to extract the colorant out of the coffee, but then it really just kind of like it's a really intensive process, and I haven't really done a lot of that. And there's other ways to infuse the coffee into the coffee flavor into other mediums that reduce the amount of tincture that goes into it. But I mean, I haven't really thought about how to do it for this context, right? So what I did is I was like, well, let me get some of our cascara, right? So this is the cascara. And if you're not too familiar with cascara, Brian, good to see you as well. And the cascara is the husk of the coffee, right? So when it's on the tree, the beans, which are actually the seeds, are surrounded by the husk. And several years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, I'm looking for my monkey pod. I have my other monkey pod, my little bowl here, which I haven't really wiped out. Let me just clean that for a moment. So this is the cascara. And so about 10 years, maybe even longer than that, some people had the idea of let's make this into a tea, right? And so they started to take the husk after it was pulped off of the coffee. Normally it's discarded. Then they started to take it, dry it, and then serve it. And so you can make a tea out of it. It's kind of really fruity, nice kind of like aromatic to it, and some decent flavors. So what I did is I took this and I decided, let me do a cold brew infusion of this. So I took 35 grams of the cascara, 250 grams of water, and I just basically put it into a jar, let it steep for 24 hours. And then I've come up with this dark, viscous looking thing. Now that I've been babbling on about like the brownness and I'm looking at this in the flask and I'm like, well, maybe it's still too dark. Maybe I have not escaped this whole thing, but this is actually kind of reddish, right? So as you can see here, it's reddish. Well, it's the cherries are red when we pick them, right? But they darken, and depending on how much you're actually extracting the cascara will, of course, determine how much colorant it's going to have. And so this is 24 hours. I just wanted to get a strong infusion. I don't know if that's the right amount of time. Perhaps it's going to be too intense. Perhaps it's going to be too much bitters. I don't know. That's why we're trying this today. So let us start getting into it. We're going to start off with some of the basic recipes that Wilfred's offers on their website. If you want to see them, I forgot to put the links down below, but basically it is wilfredsdrinks.com, WILFREDSDRINKS.com, wilfredsdrinks.com. And you can follow along or just watch, and I'll tell you more about what we're going to do. So the basic recipe that they talk about is what's called a spritz. And their spritz is basically just the aperitif with tonic water. So at the very base of it, we're just going to take the aperitif, the tonic water, and some of the cascara, right? And now that I'm thinking about it, we do have our fellow Tally Pro scale, which, it has that milliliter function, which I'm highly skeptical about, right? Like this should not, so this infused cascara liquid should not equal the same weight, or it's the same it is not the same weight as water. It should be heavier than water. In many respects, probably not heavy enough to be perceived by a tenth of a gram scale. I don't know, but I'm hypothesizing that perhaps it will be. But since it has this milliliter option, I thought, well, why don't we try it and just kind of play along? One day, maybe if I get really kind of like skeptical, I will test it. But for the moment, we're just going to kind of have fun with it because it's kind of a fun scale. Dana's with us. Greetings and salutations to you as well, Dana. How's everything in BKK? All right, so they say, so let's turn on our scale here. We'll turn on our scale. Oh, is that right? It's been like 3 days now. I don't know what I'm doing. So weight to ounces, pounds, milliliters. I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical. I'm very, very skeptical. All right, so let's see here. I guess it's really meant to be very simple. You just kind of pour them together. There's no need to shake. So let's get to it. What we're going to do, we've got our Wilfred is here, right? And we need some tonic water. And turns out I found that I have some fancy tonic water. I've got this Fever Tree. If you're here in America, man, this is what you want. Like when you're the baller of like mixology, you're using things like this. So I've got nicely chilled on the ice. So we got that here. So this is all we're going to need. We're going to need these three, and then we're going to need a little bit of orange, right? So let's get our orange. Let me actually prepare the orange first, since I didn't really prepare the orange. I did bring a couple garnishes. I've got the orange here and a freshly picked swig of rosemary that I just picked off my plant outside. So let us prepare this. Whoops. All right, so we got our orange here. Everything is falling behind the bar. Ooh, nice aromatics, of course, from our orange. Let me just pick all this up before I step on it and fall over. Then let's get back to our scale. Dana says BKK is wet. It's that. I hear you. Actually, right now we've got this whole massive hurricane that's coming up the East Coast, so it's been raining here all week. I haven't seen sun in like 4 days. So I feel you. I bet, but I still bet the weather's better there than it is here. Okay, so now here is our deal. And how much tonic water? Okay, 100 mils of tonic. So we're going to let's use this glass here, this tall. All right, is that a good spritz? Or maybe I should use a different one for the spritz. I don't even know how, like I have this glass here that I was thinking about, but I don't know if that might be too narrow. We're not going to use that one. We're going to use this one. We're going to use this baby, unless I've got a better glass somewhere up here. Oh, maybe this one kind of matches. It sort of matches the glass on the line. Okay, so let's tear that out, and we're going to need some ice. Let me go put some ice in here. I've got Crescent Cube ice from what's it called? From a Hoshizaki machine. I love Hoshizaki. They're such a great machine. Okay, so we're going to need some Wilfreds. We're going to use 50 mils. So they say 50 mils of Wilfreds and 100 mils of tonic. But why don't we take 25 mils? Or first of all, let's do that one. 25 mils. Oh, well, 26 mils. And we're going to use the balance, or let's go 30 mils. Let's go 30 mils. Really should have put a pouring spout on this. Forget it. We're not going to go anymore. I'm going to go over. So 30 mils of that, and then we're going to take 30 mils, or the balance, 20 mils of our Cascara infusion for our full 50. Okay, so obviously by the look of it, at least the initial look of it, we see that there is some heavy brown, which, as you probably know, is irritating me already. And so we've got our fancy tonic water. So we're going to go to 150 mils total. Okay, just a little bit's fine. And then we need our am I supposed to garnish with a slice of orange? There it is. All right, now I didn't stir it or anything. I probably should have put more ice. I'm looking at it. Probably should have put more ice in it. Let me do another beauty shot here. It actually has some interesting aromatics at the moment. Orangey, citrus. Not bad. Not bad. The color, perhaps instead of 24 hours of steeping for the cascara, maybe a little bit less time, maybe 16 hours, 12 hours would be fine, just to get some of that color, get the flavor and get some of the color. Not bad, not bad. But first of all, now that we're talking about how bad it could be, right? Let us do a little taste testing because I should go over this for you as well. This is going to be our Wilfred's. Let me just pour a little bit of Wilfred's in here so we can talk about that. Little taste of the Wilfred's. As you can see, fairly clear, nice colorant. You know, I don't really get rosemary, but definitely citrus. There's definitely a light bitterness, but fresh, lightly sweet, naturally sweet, not sugary sweet, fresh, clean. Actually, I really like it as just kind of this sipping thing, which is the reason why I decided to buy this first. That's kind of enjoyable. Now let us have a look at the cascara, our 24-hour, 35-gram cascara, 250 milliliter water infusion. Yeah, I think a little bit too dark, right? Like it's definitely, look, if we look at this, it definitely looks like, it actually looks more like a really tawny port or even kind of a oak aged alcohol. Let's see how it tastes. A little bit dry, like almost, it wants to suggest that it's tannic, but it does have a dry fruit character to it. I mean, a little bit of bitters, not bad either. All right, so those two together now with a little bit of the orange and the tonic water. Of course, tonic water has quinine. And I'm telling you, it has quinine like I know what quinine is. I have no idea what quinine is. It's some kind of thing that makes tonic water. That's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. All right, that works. 30 grams or 30 mils on the Tally Pro of Wilfred's, 20 mils of the cascara, and then 100 mils of the tonic. Actually, that's a fairly fun spritzer kind of drink to have. All right, there that is. All right, that's interesting. Let's go down a little bit. So now they have this drink called the Zero Proof Negroni. Now, their Negroni on their website says 100 mils of the Wilfred's Aperitif, 15 mils of fresh grapefruit, and then 3 dashes of non-alcoholic bitters like Angostura is possible. Well, they're saying that Angostura is possible. The problem with bitters like Angostura, do I have any Angostura? Is that, of course, these are made with extracts using alcohol as a base to extract the flavors out of them, much like the vanilla syrups that we made or the vanilla extracts we made here or talked about in the show that we make for Spro. those are used, they use an alcohol base. Now, we're not in a paradigm where we have to be zero alcohol. That's not my paradigm. So using bitters that are made from alcoholic extracts, a dash or two is not going to kill you. Well, I mean, if you do, maybe these are things we have to explore to see if like somebody doesn't like them, maybe they won't want them. So let's, but what I do have here is some bitters from Fee Brothers. Fee Brothers is another company, Fee Brothers 1864. I've got some cherry and some regular old-fashioned aromatic bitters. I have the cherry because years ago we were working on a beverage that we used at the Star Chefs International Chefs Congress in New York City. And about 10 years ago, 2014, I won the award for roaster of the DC, Maryland, Virginia region. And that year at ICC, they wanted me to feature a beverage that was for the cocktail hour that had coffee and alcohol. So we actually made a beverage where we had the cold brew, this really nice Costa Rican cold brew that Tonio Barrantes had grown for me. Had really interesting characters. We kind of worked with it. We tasted. We actually mixed it with a little bit of triple sec, a little bit of rum, and right when you served it. So we would serve it into the cup, a couple of cherry bitters, some ice, then the mix, because we actually have pre-mix, and really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful drink. That was, of course, that is full on cocktail hour. So that's something that I couldn't serve at Spro in house because we don't have a liquor license, here. And I am envious of my friends around the world who don't have to face the draconian laws that we have here in the land of free. All right, so let us try this Negroni. We're going to try with the regular bitters first, right? So let us get our glass. Now, Negronis, we just gently stir. So we need some orange peel. So let me get this peel of the orange. Gosh, everything's a mess here. Look at this. This place is like, this is what you have to work with. This is why you have to be careful with your work surface, because you need to make sure that you don't have a lot of I know it says the peel. I'm just getting really just the rind or just the surface. That should be good enough. Should be plenty. But yeah, if you're going to do work, you want to have it set up better. Like, in a real setting, this will all have a home. In this setting, it's just kind of like everything's just kind of hemajang around here. So we got our rocks glass. We want a nice, heavy rocks glass. This is a nice old school Chivas. Chivas. Nice, heavy crystal bottom here with a little bit of that cutouts. My father is a big Chivas, or has always been a Chivas fan, right? So I had this from him. And okay, so like I said, 100 mils of the Wilfred's Aperitif, 15. So it says 15 mils of fresh grapefruit. We're going to use the 15 mils of this, our lovely cascara. Okay, let's get this in here. Oh, I need to get some ice, right? Place a large chunk of ice. Well, I don't have a large chunk of ice. But what I will do is I will chill the glass a little bit. Now, if you're in case you're wondering, I'm not really into cocktails. Like, I don't really know much about. I know nothing about cocktails. What am I saying? And I drink straight alcohol. I'll drink rum with Coke. I'll drink, mojitos. But I'm not a mix. I don't do mixes. Like I don't sit like I know there's a lot of guys that really enjoy that, and I totally have nothing against that. But I'm just not one of those guys that goes around trying like Manhattans and old fashions and all that. I know very little about those things. Oh yeah, we're gonna need some more ice now. I guess we'll just fill it up with ice. I'm gonna put this here on our fellow scale, which is set to milliliters. I'm gonna harp on that for quite a while. Place a large chunk of ice in old-fashioned glass. We don't have a large chunk of ice. Add ingredients. So we're going to zero out. We need 100 mils of the Wilfreds. Well, I'm running out of space here in this thing. Go, catch it. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. 100 mils. Nice. And now we're going to do 15 mils of our cascara. So we're going to go 115. If I can control what I'm doing here correctly. 115. There we go. Nice. And then we're going to garnish with our orange peel twirl. Right, twirl. Maybe go around the rim here. And there it is. Negroni. Right? Zero proof Negroni. Let me just take a little bit of the probably do it without the chivas. Chivas. Dana says, looks damn good. Thank you, Dana. Appreciate that. If you went to a coffee bar, would you be okay to be offered something like this? It doesn't look too bad. Actually, that looks kind of nice. Now, to be honest with you, I have no idea what a Negroni really is supposed to taste like. But the kind of like pungency or like dry fruit that's coming from... Am I supposed to stir that? Oh, gently stir. Well, okay, let me gently stir. To combine. That... I mean, enjoyable. Interesting. I don't know what a Negroni tastes like. I might have to actually go and like learn how to make these things so that I can try it and like have a better reference point. But it's refreshing. It's got a good complexity, nice depth of character and flavors. It gets interesting to drink. One of the things about this, it just occurred to me that if I was to buy this and drink it, the nice thing about drinking something like this is that I won't be drunk. Like if I go to the bar, like a friend of mine, he's got an interesting YouTube channel. His name is, oh gosh, what is the name of his channel? I don't remember the name of his channel offhand. David Fontana is his real name. I think it's David Fontana is his YouTube channel, but he's one of my high school friends. He started making YouTube videos like me as we're older, and he does just kind of stuff around the Baltimore area. And he went to these recently found these cocktail bars. He found some cocktail bars I had no idea existed, and that were cool and like kind of funky and hidden. I was like, I want to go check those out. Maybe I'll go there, try their Negronis to get a baseline understanding. But if you're interested, David Fontana on YouTube. Fun, he does fun videos about maybe a little more sophisticated living, like for older guys. Actually, yeah, that's pretty darn good. Dana says that there's a spot in Illinois called Mother Roasters that has some coffee drinks. Ah, all right. I know some people that like, if you go... Was it you, Dana, that said that you were, or somebody said they were going to Kuala Lumpur soon? There is a girl that I know, and she does this kind of stuff. But I think she works also in more of an alcoholic world than a non-alcoholic world. Like here in America, I'm forced to work as in a non-alcoholic world. There, I don't think she has to. But Tricia Chan is her name. She owns a place called Dissolve Solids. A place called Dissolve Solids. Here's her Instagram. Tricia with, I think, 3 or 4 spaces. But she owns a place called, you can see here, Dissolved Solids. And, she does a lot of beverages. And let's see what Dissolved Solids has on their website, on their Instagram. Come. Yeah, so she does, cocktails and coffee stuff. So if you're interested, if you're interested in these kind of alternative drinks that may be somewhat associated with coffee, and you happen to be in Malaysia, Tracia's I think she's like one of the few places that I would like to go to the next time I go to KL. Peter says, how about for an idea? Make rich coffee ice cubes in a clear color drink so you're not having that dark color issue. Oh, that could definitely be. I wonder, like this Negroni. Oh, I mean, that's something to experiment. I'm just thinking, like the Negroni. What if we use those? What if we use these big? I don't know where I put them, but I do have these bigger molds for ice. So we made the coffee, or maybe even the cascara, as ice cubes, big cubes, and then made this kind of drink. That could be another great possibility as well. Oh, not bad. Good idea, Peter. Dana says, sometimes I will make a bourbon old-fashioned and run my bourbon through some ground coffee before making it. Oh, that's something that I was thinking about also. Is like part of this whole thought process was with the Bear Proof bourbon at Baltimore Spirits Company. I don't know if they actually did this, but I was thinking, after talking to them, I was thinking, what if I could take the Bear? Because my initial plan was to buy the Bear, which they were out of that day that I was there. Buy the Bear, take a portion of that, infuse it with coffee, and see how it turns out. So that's definitely part of what we're going to be doing, but it's just a matter of having the time to actually getting the product. So I was there last week, and so I was thinking maybe I should go down there today, but the weather really is, we have a hurricane. I really shouldn't be going anywhere. But they have but if they get it in, then I want to go down and pick some up. But there's something about these products, right? So we're so used to this idea of alcohols, right? So like, for example, I can take this bottle of Old Weller, and this bottle of Old Weller I bought from my dad, I think. Yeah. And I didn't put the date, but this is like from the 80s, I think. Look at this thing. This thing is like, and it's perfectly fine to drink today, right? Like it alcohol. That's the one thing. You get in this mindset of alcohol, and I can just, take it, put some stuff in it, toss it in the corner, come back 10 years from now, and it'll still be all right. Evidently, with a lot of these non-alcoholic stuff, especially the ones that are mimicking rums and bourbons and things like that, they're not made, well, they're not an alcohol. So I was reading something where they were like, yeah, you kind of have to refrigerate them, and they kind of die after a while. It's like, what? $30 and it's going to die after how many weeks? I'm like, that's just crazy. But it's just a different paradigm you have to think about. So I'm trying to adjust my mentality and thinking about how to understand all of these products as well. Dana says, Keanu will be there for the tattoo convention next month. I knew somebody was going there. I remember someone mentioned that. I'll be going with him, but I'm filming for Adventure Film Company. Oh, interesting. Yeah, definitely go check out Tracia's place. I would love to hear about. There's another person whose shop sounded really interesting to me. She was another, I can't remember her name offhand, but I will remember before you guys go, and then we can, if you have the time, love to hear about your experiences. And if you're shooting, maybe shoot a video about your experience there too. Why not? And then Peter says the cubes will slowly diffuse the coffee flavors into the drink. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that idea a lot. Well, I am thinking about, now that we talked about it, then I lost my auction yesterday. It does remind me that, I probably should place the order for one of those Sears Spinzalls. Spinzall is this product that Dave Arnold, I don't know if you're familiar with Dave Arnold. Dave Arnold is a mixologist kind of chef here in New York City. He's a place called Booker and Dax. He's worked at a lot of places. He's actually brother-in-law with Wiley Dufresne, if you're familiar with Wiley. And he just opened a new place in New York City. Actually, I want to go there and check it out. Actually, that's where I should go have Negronis and drinks. But he's really a very forward-thinking bartender chef, and he's created a line of products that are kind of like, they're not like mass produced. So they come out every once in a while, and then they don't have them for a while. So he's come up with something called the Spinzall, which is like this centrifuge that is designed for bar use. And actually, now that I think about it, they're supposed to come back online for ordering, I think next month. So I gotta place an order with him. But I think that there's a technique that we can use. Maybe James Hoffman did that once, where we can probably take the brewed coffee, spin it, and separate the solids out of it while maintaining the flavor. I was thinking about trying to use something like vacuum distillation, like in a rotovap, but I don't know if that's going to work either. I don't know. I haven't really tried that. Beta says, I used to work in KL. I produced and hosted a show on now defunct network called EFM. Since you've been around a while. So in 2013, I was hospitalized in the Philippines. I basically had some kind of knee infection that basically just took my knee out. I was totally, man, I was just hobbling. I wasn't even hobbling. I was crawling. I was like dragging myself on the floor. It was so terrible. I ended up in the hospital in Manila for 33 days. Which actually was not a big deal. Like everybody around me was like, they were concerned because I got some other infections, and they were like, oh, it's like fatal, like it could kill you. But I was never like, and I was never scared. I was like, I'll be fine, no big deal. And I was there for 33 days. But during those 33 days, one of the things I remember is I was watching a lot of television. And maybe you might know who this is, because I've been trying to figure out who it is. Can I see more of these shows? And does this guy have like his videos on YouTube? Because I'd love to see them again. But as I'm watching television at this hospital in Manila, there was a show that was from Singapore with this young guy that was the host. And basically he would go around the world in the episodes that I saw, London, Hong Kong, or wherever he went. Maybe he was in America or whatever. And he would go to these restaurants where they would serve red chili crab. And those of you may not be familiar, evidently, and I'm not familiar with it either, evidently red chili crab is super famous in Singapore. And there's a super amount of pride from Singaporeans about their red chili crab. And this guy basically went around the world and he's trying red chili crab everywhere. And he's not totally like bashing on them, but he's basically bashing him. He's like, the red chili crab here is okay, but it's still better in Singapore. I was like, that's all he does, is he goes around bash on other people's red chili crab. And I thought it was kind of fun and enjoyable, but it was just kind of like the highlight of my stay in the hospital. And I was like, and I never figured out who he was, or at least I never remembered who he was, or what the name of the show is. But I would love to find it again. Like, hopefully they have it on YouTube. But if you happen to know, I would love to know about that. So Dana says, I drank many coffees in KL. Oh, I bet. And I would hate to be in Manila for that long, but it wasn't, in Manila in general. I mean, actually, I love Manila. I just love it there. I could move. I could move there. I'd be happy to move there. But it wasn't, 33 days in a hospital was a long time, but it wasn't terrible. Surprisingly, it wasn't terrible. Peter says, distillation will extract oils. I don't know how much of other coffee flavors. Distillation will extract oils. I don't know how much of the other coffee flavors will be lost or recognizable. Yeah, I think it does. From someone had done that, I think, at one point, and I think it did remove a lot. Of course, I don't have a rotovap, so I can only theorize about that. But I did see, there's a guy, he's the guy that owns Combustion Incorporated, which is this newer company that makes really amazing thermometers. Oh, I should go buy some of those too. Anyway, this guy, Chris Young, he's actually one of the guys from Modernist Cuisine as well. He's a chef. He worked for Noma. Anyway, amazing resume, but he's got a YouTube channel. And his channel came across my feed the other day because he did a video with James Hoffman. And the thumbnail was clickbaity with James giving this face. And I was like, I wasn't going to click on it. I was like, oh, that's just dumb. I'm not going to watch that. But I was like, you know what? It's Chris. He's talking about hot and cold coffees. Oh, that's what it was. He used to work for a place that, did he work for Wiley? I don't remember who he worked for, but I think he worked for, maybe he worked at El Bulli. No, I'm sorry. He worked at the Fat Duck. That's what it was. He worked for Heston Blumenthal at the Fat Duck in London. And he was talking about this thing they did at Heston's place that was inspired by Ferran Adria at El Bulli, where they made a drink at the Fat Duck where you had hot and cold coffee in one glass. So basically you would have your glass and you would have hot and cold tea and you would drink it and you'd have the sensation of both hot and cold. And I was like, okay. So he made a hot and cold coffee for his video. And I was like, and it's really fascinating to watch. And if you see it, Chris Young on YouTube, his most recent video, I think it's still his most recent video, and it's got James's face on it, so you can't really miss it. But really interesting. It takes a little bit more because you have to get some specialized ingredients for it and a little bit specialized techniques. You have to create a mold for your glass to separate the two because you put a separator in your glass and then you pour both liquids in, you pull the separator out, and the viscosity, not the viscosity, but basically there's a scientific term for it, but it holds the two separate. And I've been taking notes on it. I'm saying, oh, we should try that. And I think in their case, they use the same coffee for hot and cold, but I think there's an opportunity for like different types of coffees to be separate but come together as a greater whole. I thought that's kind of interesting. Dana says, I will ask my friends and say, well, it was 2013 when I saw the show. I don't know how long before that it came out, but it's been a while. But I've tried, Singapore red chili crab. I've tried all kinds of different search terms on YouTube. I've not been able to find it. So, but if you find it, I would love to hear about it. Okay, so next we're going to try Wilfred's. If we roll down on the Wilfred's page, they've got something called the Ginger London Mule, which uses 50 milliliters of the Wilfred's Aperitif, 100 milliliters of ginger beer, and a squeeze of fresh lime. So let's give that a try. Well, we're not going to use, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same kind of approach where we're going to, now I don't have any lime, so we're just going to have to stick with I do have some lemon. That's not the same. We're going to do the same substitution with the Cascara and the Wilfred's. Maybe we'll use the same one. I was thinking 50-50, but let's do the 30-20 to make our 50 milliliters. I don't have ginger beer, so we're just going to have to kind of, ideate it, right? So I've got the Seagram's ginger ale, which is not quite the same. It doesn't have the same kind of bite. It's more sweet. So we'll just give this a try and see what happens. Let's use this glass. We're going to use this tall glass. This is I don't know what glass it's from. Peter says laminar effect. I think he used a different term than laminar, but essentially it is that kind of laminar effect. Coffee oil, acidic oils make me, which we'll try to stay away from those. And Dana says, that's probably the only good dish they make in Singapore. Damn, you just slam it on those Singaporean people. They're just going to get all upset here. My goodness. Their food is wildly overrated. Yeah, what is the dish that at the very end of the Chungguan video that we released, where Prudence and Chan are with me, they're touring around KL. She talks about this dish, the noodle dish that basically, I guess, Malaysians in Singapore argue about who's better. But anyway, I thought that when she said that, and we were editing the video, I was like, well, that's kind of funny. It's like, I guess there's a little bit of rivalry there. And then if you ever watch this other YouTuber, Chef Elizabeth Haig, she's a chef in London. She has a shop there, and she does a lot of Singaporean dishes. I think the food is fascinating. It's wildly, to me, it's very different than what we have in the Philippines, or what I know as food from the Philippines. So I don't know, like nasi lemak and nasi goreng and all. What's the compound that they use that's really popular? I don't know. I can't remember. Okay, so I don't know the volume of this glass. So let's just start with that. We're going to need, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it in here. Sambal, thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to think about. Singapore food cannot beat Malaysian food. Maybe the chicken rice is better. Oh, no. Okay. I mean, I've only had food in Malaysia, and I really did enjoy it. Singaporean food is basically less delicious and more expensive version of. I will let you say that. I will. All right, here we go again. We're going to go here. We're going to go with, let's go with 30 mils of our Wilfreds. Ooh, hit that on the money. I got to say that, I hate to admit it, but I am enjoying this scale. All right. And then we're going to need 100 of this, which is not ginger beer. So we're going to go to 150. Oops. Okay, so that only fills, it doesn't fill it that much. So now I can take the rest of it, and I'm going to, now that that's mixed it well, I'm just going to put ice in here, fill it all the way up. And the nice thing about that is that it has nicely filled the glass. And, let me get some beauty shots. I mean, it has incorporated well, so. Oh, you know what I just realized? Okay, that's nice. Fun. We're not talking about massively different than the other drinks. But let's go back to the other. So pretty good. We'd have to try it with the ginger beer, really. It's fun. It's fun. It's sweet. Not terribly complex than the other ones, but I just realized, I was thinking about the bitters, and I realized that with our Negroni, I didn't put the bitters in, right? I didn't put bitters. I totally forgot to put bitters. So we're going to do a couple dashes, right? A couple dashes of our Fee Brothers. So half a gram. Would that be half a mil too? Oh, darn it. And let's give that a stir in there. I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about doing that. So much more complexity now. That's totally a different drink. And even better. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm digging that. I'm digging this even more. And I don't have to get drunk. Like I could drive after this, we're done. Okay, so next. Okay, so they call this one the cheeky Wilfred spritz. So it's kind of a spritz using the tonic water, London dry gin, and Aperitif, and the Wilfred. So we're going to do the same kind of blending of the Wilfreds But this time, we're going to what are we going to do? I'm going to put it in this glass. Okay, I probably should wipe that down. So. Okay, so we're going to use this Cheeky Wilfred Spritz, but instead of using dry gin, what I'm going to use is something else called Seed Lip. And I believe this is the Seed Lip. This is what they call the Garden 108. And Seed Lip is another one of these companies that makes a variety of non-alcoholic mixers. There's this one, the Spice 94. There is also the Grove 42. This one I haven't opened yet, and the labels are kind of mashed up because they've been sitting around for the last like 5 years. These are some of the first stuff that I bought. And basically what these are kind of like flavored waters. There's not too much to them. Doesn't smell terribly nice. It smells very grassy, very vegetal, very herbaceous. Like I smell at them like it smells herbaceous, and not that I really want to taste it, but let's give it a try. So as you can see here, it's very clear. So a lot of aromatics, very aromatic. It's like drinking a cucumber. No, it's like drinking a dill and cucumber together with very little bit of like vinegar. Very little. But interesting. It should give us an interesting nose. So we're going to need 25 mils of this. I'm going to put this on here. Tear that out. So we're going to use Seed Lip 25. Oh, goodness. Wish they would make things that poured better. Good Lord. Did these guys not test their bottles before they started using them? That's just terrible. That's terrible. Okay, more or less, there's 25. 25.8, that's fine. We'll go with that. Or maybe I'm supposed to put like, I don't know, what do you call it? Maybe we're supposed to put spouts on them. All right, so we're going to do 20 of this. Then we're going to do 30 of our Wilfreds. Bring it up to 50. Ugh. I don't know. I'm obsessed with trying to get it correct. I know that in a bar setting, most bars do not measure to this nth of a degree. And then we're going to need 100 milliliters of our premium tonic water that we're getting from our lovely Fever Tree because we're very bougie. I think I don't remember resetting it. All right. Oh, all right. And then now we're going to take a little bit of garnish with our fresh rosemary. Put that in there like that, and bam, there it is. There's our little Cheeky Wilfred Spritz, our interpretation with using the cascara. And I need another beauty shot. Let me reset all of this so that it looks pretty. The background. All right, so a little bit of rosemary. So should have some herbaceousness to it. Interesting complexity on the nose. Strange, herbaceous, bitter, sweet, complex. A very different thing than you'd expect from like a coffee beverage. Interesting. Actually, not bad. just very different. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so we're going to continue on because they've got another thing here that they talk about. There is something that they're calling the Sec Martini. So we're going to give that a try. We're going to take our mixing glass here, tear that out. What do we need here? We need a lot of stuff that we don't have. So what they call for is 75 milliliters of the Wilfred's Aperitif, 50 milliliters of fresh cranberry, 25 milliliters of the fresh grapefruit, 15 of freshly squeezed lime, and 2 dashes of non-alcoholic bitters. So today we're going to use 2 dashes of the cherry bitters. We're going to try the cherry bitters this time around. Cherry bitters. So 2 dashes. 1, 2. We're going to go with the 75 milliliters of the Wilfred's. I've already plowed through like this whole bottle. What do we have available to us? So we're going to use some of the, so it did 75 mils. Let's go with 50 mils of our cascara. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to get the glass prepared before we begin. Oh, that's not quite 50. Gosh, come on. And we did, and let's say 20. So for the grapefruit, let us try just a little 25 milliliters of our, we're going to use the ginger ale. I give it a little fizziness to it. Oops. Okay, maybe a little bit more. 34.4. Next, we're going to get our ice, right? Because we have to shake this. Correct? Correct. Now I get to do my, bartender impression. What do? They do this whole, where they shake around. I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. Why they do it? They have a whole reason to do it. I don't know what that is. No idea what that is. We also have our glass. It's all ready, getting it all chilled. Do I have a strainer? Well, do I have a strainer? I don't have a strainer here, so we're just going to have to go the old school way. And as you can see, I'm not very good at this. Making a mess. Just making a mess here. And great. I've got, now that I have, ginger ale in this, it's got like stickiness all over it. Here is our thing. And what we need here, we need to do some garnish with a maraschino cherry. I have no maraschino cherries. Oh, that would have been a great. I should have read this. I should have read this article earlier. Let's just give it a little bit of a, let me cut a little bit of this. Okay, there it is. There it is. Look at that, huh? Not so horrible. Could be better. Could be better. Definitely, these are just like first run tests. We're just checking it out to see. Cheers, everybody. Now that we're on our fifth drink, using the same, I mean, we're using, I put the cherry bitters in. Maybe the cherry bitters don't give enough complexity and depth, so perhaps the regular bitters would be better. This is our fifth drink making with the Wilfreds. And basically, we're using essentially the same ingredient. We're using Wilfreds with the cascara. And perhaps now that we're on the fifth drink, it's not so novel. I'm not as enthusiastic about this. It's kind of nice. It's kind of a play on everything we've done so far. It doesn't have the complexity of the other drinks. Like, let's say this one. That's nice. I like that. I still like that. Well, it's getting diluted. I think this is kind of very interesting. This one, that seed-lip, that herbaceousness just makes it kind of strange. Like, not in a bad way, but like maybe strange in a more compelling way, that you're just kind of like more perplexed by it. This one, though, I'm not really following the recipe. I really should have the recipe going. I think it could be a lot better. It could be a lot better. Don't really have anything to say on that. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, we're already past an hour. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for today. So just some things with the Wilfreds and the cascara. Just as we're trying, like I said, I'm trying to work out ideas for the menu. So we'll see. Maybe it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm going to save some of this cascara for tonight's live stream. And if you happen to be free or interested, I do a live stream every Thursday night about coffee and cigars on the Ono Live channel. So if you're interested, come join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be doing something called the Opus X Rare Pink. Should be kind of a nice cigar. Supposed to be one of their better ones. So, and I'll also be doing that since it's raining here. I'll probably be doing it from the garage. We'll be talking about garage stuff as well as this chair that I'm restoring. So, thank you very much for tuning in. Be back again tomorrow, 10 a.m. Unless they call me and they need me to come and do more training. I was doing training the last couple of days, in case you're wondering, at a place called the Food Market in Columbia, Maryland. They are opening we've been their coffee supplier since they opened the restaurant for 3 years now. And they finally have decided to open their public side of the cafe. They have a cafe there. And so we've been consulting with them on some of the reconfiguration of the cafe, as well as helping them to train their new baristas. So I spent the last couple of days training baristas there. I think they're all new. They have no experience, but they're getting it. I'm really surprised at how well, only after 2 full days of training, how well they're getting the techniques. Baristas that I trained for Spro, I mean, it would take them a week to get where these two girls are in 2 days, mainly because it's a different format that I'm using for training these girls, because they have a little bit more of a tighter schedule. They have to get up to speed faster. But yeah, that's what's happening. Thank you very much for tuning in. Glad to see all of you. Always happy to have you guys hang out with me here on the show. And back again tomorrow with more Coffee Q&A. See you then.